Only want men to make your meal? Fine by me. I worked as a cook and carry-out for an Italian restaurant for several years. Normally I would work in the kitchen during the week and carry out on the weekends. My forte was cook. I was fast, detail-oriented, and prided myself on making the perfect dish. In the 5+ years I worked there I was the only female ever in the kitchen. On Tuesdays I was always in the kitchen and another worker, Eric, worked carry-out. Every Tuesday a customer would come in and order the same thing. The order was very specific and went against how meals are typically prepared. Things like they only wanted 2 meatballs instead of the standard 3, the meatballs must be separate from the spaghetti in an aluminum dish, not a styrofoam cup, a small scoop of sauce on the meatballs, etc. The meal was so specific I knew it by heart and always made it. The cheapskate owner of the restaurant would have been pissed if he knew how much styrofoam and aluminum tins I had to use to make the order by splitting all the food out, but I didn't mind. Well, one day Eric decided to switch to serving in the main dining room to make more money. The first Tuesday he switched, the managers didn't have anyone for carry-out, so they asked me to cover. As I was working that night in carry-out, an old man in a black bowler hat and tan trench coat comes in the lobby. I greet him and am about to take his order when he states, "Are there any men working today? Where's Eric?" I was confused but went and fetched Eric and Eric took his order. I asked Eric if he was related and he said, "No, he just feels women are incompetent and can't make his order right." I was fuming. When the order was ready, I picked it up and realized it was the specific order that comes in every Tuesday. This old man must have assumed only men work in the kitchen. Little did he know he had just come face to face with the 5-foot, 100-pound female that had perfectly made his order every Tuesday for years. I handed him his order without a word. I was so angry by his sexism that I didn't want to speak and say something that would make me lose my job. I regret not saying anything to this day. He inspected his order and rolled his eyes when he spied the meatballs in styrofoam instead of an aluminum dish, but left without a word. After that I decided if he wanted men to handle his stupid order, then I'll go with it. I got approval from the manager to proceed with my plan and male co-workers jumped in to help. I asked Eric to not help him anymore since he was familiar with the old man's order. Besides, he needed to focus on serving anyways. Only other men took his order. I asked the male cooks to make his meal. I didn't tell the special instructions. No more special treatment with separate tins. He got the standard spaghetti and meatballs like everyone else. It would be what the male cheapskate owner would want, after all. And no special discount codes that would credit him 50 cents for one less meatball. Only Eric and I knew the discount codes during that shift anyways. Well, every week his order was, according to him, wrong. He started to demand the order be remade per his requirements. He would be denied his requests, citing the cheapskate owner was cracking down on product waste. He got even more upset when he discovered he wasn't getting the discount codes anymore. After several Tuesdays of this charade, he finally asked to speak to a manager to voice his dissatisfaction. He asked, "Where is the man that was making my meal?" And the manager responded, "Oh, she quit." Looking back, I should have instead popped up around the corner and said something like, "I am no man, a law Lord of the Rings" or something, but that was the best response we thought of at the time. Unfortunately, he didn't have an epiphany or realization that I hoping for. The manager just said he scoffed and took his food and left. He quit coming a couple of weeks later. Never heard from him again. Should have been more respectful to the female cook.
Now to the comments. I grew up in a predominantly Italian neighborhood. I knew several Italian grandmothers who would have handed this guy his ass faster than he could utter the one sentence about men cooking.
I grew up in an Italian family, and if someone dares to criticize the Nana's cooking, God forgives their soul. Mine used to carry a wooden spoon in her purse.
Similar upbringing. God is never involved before, during or after. Great story. I just don't understand this guy at all. How do you get so sexist that you want women out of the kitchen?
One of my uncles is like this, and as far as I can tell the logic goes like this. cooking at home is taking care of the family/household and is therefore women's work. Cooking at a restaurant makes you a chef, which is a career and therefore women can't cook at restaurants. He once told me you should be cooking for your husband, not strange men.
Exactly this. Once you get paid and you're a professional, it becomes okay for men and you get respect. If you do it for your family and you're not paid, it's women's work. Crappy double standard. And I am a woman and have done both. There is a female owner's special type of Japanese restaurant. They do an elaborate ritualized many-course meal. She used to have screens blocking people from seeing interaction with the kitchen area to hide the fact the chef was a woman, because several patrons have walked out of the restaurant after seeing a female chef. The thing is, this place is truly one of a kind. You will never find another restaurant in the area, maybe even the country, that does these elaborate many-course ritual meals. So by walking out, the patrons will never get to experience this type of dining unless they go to Japan. Most of the people that walked out were older Japanese men who had at some point moved to America. Could you imagine being that sexist that you would forego a one-of-a-kind experience? You know, I miss this type of experience from home, but I'll be danged if he'll let a woman cook it for me.
It still amazes me that people like this are still around. Culture has changed so much. Fortunately, I don't really interact anyone who voices this type of stupidity. Personally, I'm too lazy and busy to care who is doing what in the restaurant, gender, race, etc. I just care food is good and service is at least decent. I never understood the sentiment to begin with.
From what I understand is that many older Japanese men are traditionalists to a fault. Think boomers, but instead of being from a melting pot nation, they were from a monoculture nation. And the manager responded, "Oh, she quit." A better response would have been to introduce you, and explain that you had been making his meal for the last couple of years. That is, until a few weeks ago, when he added the additional request that he wanted a man to do it.
This is exactly what I thought. You demanded she stop making it is what I anticipated the punchline was going to be.
Well, everyone knows that women can't cook worth a gosh darn. Right, Mom? Mom. Ouch. Please don't dump a pan of dishwater on me again. I was only joking. Honest.
Yet. Cause everyone talks about grandma's cooking when they grew up. Guess his grandma couldn't cook.
So does this guy think that women are fine cooking for him at home but then somehow incompetent cooking in a restaurant? I seriously don't get this mentality. Clearly he's never seen, or had the privilege of enjoying, the stereotype of the Italian grandmother who would spend hours a day in the kitchen just cooking the nightly feast the rest of the peasants of the world would simply call dinner. If they'd overhead him, they probably would have gotten one of their 5 sons to beat his ass if her handy throwing cleaver wasn't within reach.
No need, they always have the big wooden spoon within reach.
Ever been hit on the head with a ladle of hot gravy? Spoiler, you don't want to be. I worked at an Italian takeout for a few months when I was 16. They were pretty sexist, and one cook told me not to touch the sauce because women get periods and it will ruin the sauce. Of course I stuck my fingers in it, and to no one's surprise, the sauce was not contaminated by my girl cooties. She quit and he blames the woman for quitting. I wonder who cooked his meals then? His mother growing up? His wife? Wait, does he even have a mother or wife?
Hopefully not a wife, or any other partners or children.
Lord help them. I'm amazed that this exists. I don't care about who cooks it, I care about how it tastes. If you're a great and competent chef, I'll go back again. Don't know why people are so petty about something.
Sort of a basic example of how misogyny hurts men too. Don't think women can be paid chefs, then you're missing out on some awesome food.
So weird how when people think of the stereotypical family cook it's always the wife, but the stereotypical chef is always a man. Like women can't even excel in the sexism defined role given to them in these old school views, I guess. Insert joke about mom's spaghetti. His thinking probably, women belong in the kitchen, but not busy making my food. Some people are just batshit crazy. I have never gotten my mind around the particular mode of thinking that goes cooking is woman's work and no man should ever do it. Unless you're paying for it, then it has to be a man cooking.